In honor of the holiday and keeping with our top 10 tradition, we have our own presidential rankings. Presidents of baseball operations, not the other presidents. On our series top 10 right now, we devoted a segment, kind of an unofficial, subjective top 10 for general managers and team presidents. I did this segment with Christopher Mad Dog Russo. It was an interesting exercise in examining the real power players in the sport. Let's do a little digging in. So here's my thought process, all right? Start at the top. Who's number one? And I think it's a clear number one, at least right now, Andrew Friedman of the Dodgers. State-of-the-art free agency buying, superior roster construction, drafting and developing. And if you think he's doing that because he has a big payroll, you have to remember he was once one of the original pound-for-pound small market GMs, having led the Rays to their winning ways for 9 years. Here's the resume: 4 pennants, 2 World Series, 9 division titles in 10 years. His Dodgers are averaging, 104 wins a year over the last 8 years. That's his average. Full disclosure, Mad Dog had Friedman 7th, which I thought was inexplicable. Andrew Friedman, for me, number 1 roster architect in the game. From there, I knew this. Brian Cashman of the Yankees and Dave Dombrowski of the Phillies had to be way up toward the top. I didn't know exactly where, but the resume alone put them in the top 10, and their current excellence should have them in the top 5. Now, this is a combination of what you're doing now and what you've done in the past. Look at these resumes. Dombrowski, 5 pennants, multiple clubs, 2 World Series titles, winning with the Marlins and the Red Sox. In between, he built a powerhouse with the Tigers. That was a great team. And now with the Phillies. Brian Cashman, he has a top payroll. 22 postseason appearances in 27 years, 7 pennants, 4 World Series titles since he took over personally. It's not a done deal that the Yankees stay on top, by the way. Brian Cashman has kept them there. So I have Andrew Friedman number 1. I know I want Dombrowski and Cashman in the top 5. Not far after those 2, by the way. I know I need to get in Mike Rizzo of the Nationals. Also the excellent resume in the midst of a very good rebuild. I know Mike Rizzo has to be close by. So my next thought, is there anyone that fits right after Friedman and before I get to these Hall of Fame GMs? And in fact, yes, there is. In my opinion, Alex Anthopoulos has done a fantastic job with the Braves. He traded for that new outfield, a whole new outfield, won a World Series title, sustained success, the whole package. And Eric Neander of the Rays is the next stage Andrew Friedman. Incredible success on a bottom 5 payroll. He's actually outpaced Friedman if you compare just the Rays on their resume. So that's my top 5. Friedman, Anthopoulos, Neander, Dombrowski, Cashman. The Hall of Fame executives are there, Dombrowski and Cashman. All right, second half of the top 10 was trickier. Mike Rizzo is making it for me, but I have the younger guys with good track records close by. David Stearns, solid work with the Brewers. A.J. Preller, who just built a fantastic Padres team last year. I figure they have to make it. I wanted to find room for Mike Hazen of Arizona, Chris Antonetti of Cleveland, David Forst of Oakland. But you know what, Buck? I ran out of room. I'm talking to Buck Showalter, by the way. I ran out of room. So here's where maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. Bottom 5, Rizzo, Stearns, Preller. Last 2, I was very impressed by Chris Young and his roster rebuild for the Rangers for a World Series title run. And for number 10, I do want to reward the incredible draft and developing job by Mike Elias and his team in Baltimore. They haven't had playoff success as of yet. I know Mad Dog went after me on that, but that's a burgeoning powerhouse. Bottom 5, tougher than the top 5 in a lot of ways. But there you have it, my top 10 presidents on President's Day. Whew. All right. What do you think, Buck?
You need to take a breath?
Yeah, well,
I agree with a lot of those. One thing that hits me is how many of them have continuity with the manager. The manager hasn't been there just 1 year. Mm-hmm. You look at Boone. You look at the way they've done things with Dave Roberts.
There's stability.
There's stability,
all around,
and that tells you that they have a close relationship with their managers. Mm-hmm. And they just, everybody has input. The greatest accolade you can pay somebody is go, "What's your opinion?" And they take all these opinions together, and somebody at the end goes, "Here's what we're going to do." Mm-hmm. John Hart used to do that. He'd start throwing that ring. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And when he stopped throwing the ring, he goes, "Okay, good. I listen to everybody. Here's what we're going to do."
Right. John Hart, another Hall of Fame executive. That
without a doubt.
Up there, and there's a bunch here. So, I thought it was Dombrowski and Cashman, kind of the side by side, and then Mike Rizzo was right there after. I had to get them in. Who would you like to see in the top 10? Give me somebody that you think, hey, you should have given this guy a little more.
I love what Mike Hazen's done with the Diamondbacks. Okay, you mentioned his name. I like.
Mad Dog got him in, by the way. He got.
Well, then maybe I don't.
Right. Come on. Mad Dog got in Hazen, right, and we got in the guys from Cleveland, so I felt better about that.
I love GMs and presidents that know who they are, understand their market, understand what they can do and what they can't do, and know what type of player they need to go after. I think Piccolo has a chance to be one of those guys. Mm-hmm. I really do. But, what'd be interesting if you did your bottom 5. Don't do that. Please don't do that.
Who would you have number one? Who would you have number one? Give me one thing, Buck. Give me a number one.
Number one.
Who's your number one president of baseball
I have
operations?
to look at it.
You just did. I just did a whole essay on it.
Everyone has a pro and con there. Everybody's going to say the Dodgers, this and that, whatever. Thank you for putting it back up. Jeez.
To me it was clear, but then it was Anthopoulos.
I look at Baltimore. You draft in the first 2 or 3 picks, but I look at your drafts 5 through 15.
Who would you have number one? Who would you have number one? Who would you have number one, Buck?
Probably one of those 10 guys.
Hey, Dodgers Nation, buckle up because today's news could change the entire MLB landscape. Aaron Judge, the Yankees captain, just dropped a bombshell by suggesting he might consider a move to California. Yes, you heard that right. And shockingly, he even mentioned the Dodgers as a potential destination. But how could this happen? What would the Yankees do without him? And most importantly, are we on the verge of seeing the ultimate Dodgers dynasty? I'm Victor, and today we're breaking down this blockbuster news that could shake the league. So hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's get into it. What did Judge say? It all started during an interview with SNY this week at Yankee spring training. Aaron Judge, now 32, was asked by reporter Andy Martino about his career outlook. Without hesitation, Judge said he's beginning to think about the final stretch of his career and that he'd love to play for a California team. Why? He lived there for 24 years before being drafted by the Yankees and wants to be closer to family and friends. When pressed by Martino on which teams he'd consider, he mentioned the Giants due to their proximity to Sacramento and the Dodgers, given their closeness to Fresno. As if that wasn't shocking enough, shortly after, reports surfaced that his wife, Samantha Braxiak, is also encouraging a move away from New York. The reason? The city's chaotic pace, high cost of living, and desire for a calmer environment to raise their family. And if there's one place that offers exactly that, it's Los Angeles. What this means for the Yankees. Now, Yankees fans, I'm sorry, but losing Aaron Judge would be an absolute disaster for the Bronx. We're talking about the face of the franchise, the captain, the pillar that holds this team together. Without him, the Yankees would lose their biggest leader in the heart of their lineup. Imagine the fan reaction if this actually happened. It would be a colossal blow, similar to when Babe Ruth left the Red Sox, and we all know how that turned out. And let's be honest, the Yankees aren't exactly overflowing with young superstars to replace him. Giancarlo Stanton isn't the same force he once was, Anthony Rizzo doesn't have the same impact, and the team lacks another elite slugger who can carry the franchise the way Judge does. Not to mention, the Yankees farm system hasn't produced a superstar of Judge's caliber in a long time. Losing him would set them back years in terms of offensive power and leadership. What this means for the Dodgers. Now, picture Judge in Dodger blue. With Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, and Freddie Freeman already in the lineup, adding Judge would be downright unfair. It would be the most dangerous team of the century, a true powerhouse capable of dominating MLB for years. Ohtani pitching and hitting, Betts being one of the most complete players in the league, Freeman with his insane consistency, and now, Judge? The Dodgers are already title favorites, but with Judge, they'd be on the path to an unstoppable dynasty. This would be the greatest super team in modern baseball history. Plus, Judge would thrive in Dodger Stadium. Unlike Yankee Stadium, which heavily favors left-handed power hitters, Dodger Stadium is a fair ballpark for both sides of the plate. Judge's raw power would make him a nightmare for pitchers, and he'd be surrounded by an elite supporting cast. The prospect of seeing Ohtani and Judge hitting back-to-back is enough to make any Dodgers fan dream big. A potential Dodgers-Yankees trade. But how could this actually happen? After all, Judge has a massive contract with the Yankees. The only realistic way would be through a trade, and here's a scenario that might make the Yankees at least consider parting with their captain. The Dodgers could put together a massive package involving some of their top prospects and MLB-ready players. Something like Andy Pages, a top outfield prospect with power and upside. Bobby Miller, one of the best young pitchers in the league. Chris Taylor, a versatile hitter who can contribute immediately. Dalton Rushing, one of the top young catching prospects in baseball. James Outman, a dynamic outfielder with great defensive skills and pop at the plate. The Yankees would lose Judge, but they get a young, promising package that could help them rebuild quickly. Bobby Miller alone could slot into their rotation as a potential ace. Andy Pages could develop into a power hitting star, and James Outman would immediately add depth to their outfield. Plus, clearing Judge's salary would give New York the flexibility to chase another big name in free agency down the line. Final thoughts. If this trade were to happen, it would send shockwaves throughout the league. The Dodgers would establish themselves as the undisputed powerhouse of MLB, while the Yankees would be forced to rethink their entire future. Would they be willing to let go of their captain? Would the Dodgers take the gamble and push all in for another championship? Now, I want to hear from you, Dodgers fans. Do you think Aaron Judge would seriously consider leaving the Yankees for Los Angeles? And more importantly, do you think it's worth giving up some young talent to bring another superstar to this already stacked team? Drop your thoughts in the comments and share this video with other fans to get the conversation going. And of course, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates on the Dodgers. See you in the next video.